Hey, what's up? Zach here. And these are the 3 biggest pros and cons of the all-new Nike PG6 and the biggest reasons you may or may not want to buy them. Here we go. Now, the number 1 and most obvious dividing line of the PG6 is their midsole construction and overall shape of the shoe. Now, these are an entire bed of Nike React foam, which is that EVA and ETPU mixed midsole foam. Now, React foam is pretty soft, however, it does retain a lot of elasticity to it because it does have all those plastic pieces as well as EVA components in it. Now, what I do like about the PG6 is it's a top-loaded shank. That shank is right under the strobo board and it is pretty stiff. The other thing you'll notice is the arch on the PG6 is actually higher than the heel, so it is going to prop your arch up a little bit and put you a little bit higher off the ground. And you would think that that midsole profile would make the shoe a little bit wobbly. However, because of the width and shape of the heel and midfoot, the PG6 still stays pretty darn stable and well balanced, even on 1-foot shooting on your dominant and non-dominant foot. But I think by far the most impressive part of the PG6 midsole is its vertical potential. If you look at the jump height test, 36 centimeters of jump height on average just goes to show you top-loaded shank, pretty stiff, right under the strobel, right under all those really powerful arch muscles, combined with really elastic Nike React foam. The shoe's pretty light, so it's just really easy to get off the ground. Plus, you're getting all that reverb from that really elastic and springy React foam. So, you know, the PG6 gets just as much vertical potential and jump force as shoes much heavier than it, just in a much lighter and more nimble package. But just remember, the downside to React foam is, although it is really springy and very plush and cushioned underfoot, and it feels absolutely incredible, almost like a Zoom strobel. However, with just a little bit more push and pop on it, it is going to bottom out faster than, say, a Zoom Air unit or maybe Lunarlon or Phylon, just because it is a little bit more open cell. It is just a little bit less dense than some other foams, so you're going to get incredible cushion, really plush ride, and a ton of reverb and spring back on all of your steps, especially jump shots, pivots, just cuts and turns. And that's also one of the reasons these stay a little bit more stable, because when you sink into the React foam, it does give a little bit, so you are sinking a little bit deeper into the shoe, and that's why it feels more stable. And that's great in the beginning, but in the long run, like I said, it's just going to bottom out a little bit faster. Now, the next big pro and con of the PG6 is definitely the outsole tread, and this is a little bit more of an out-of-the-box outsole tread. It's kind of got this lunar base pattern with these little circular pods of tread. Now, some of these tread pods actually do have some straight lines cutting through them for a little bit more grip. And to be honest, even though the tread does look a little gimmicky, it does grip incredibly well, especially on hardwood courts. These shoes were digging in incredibly well, and I was getting a ton of grip as well as a ton of nimble footwork. It also didn't stick to the court too much either. Now, on an outdoor court, they also gripped incredibly well. The court was a little bit damp when I was playing on it, and it still did give me a pretty nice grit and tack on that outdoor court. The only problem is the durometer of this rubber, the hardness of it, is significantly less than even some other Nike shoes coming in. Now, it also does have this pretty hard outer wrap here on the outsole, which does come up along the lateral side right here. Now, this is meant for a little bit more stability, and the durometer, or the hardness of this rubber, is quite a bit more, so it is going to give you a lot of stability laterally going side to side. However, if you look at the outsole durability test, the Dremel 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, really about 2 millimeters of damage on the clear rubber, on that kind of lunar base rubber, and then about 1 millimeter, maybe a little bit more on the harder outsole wrap rubber. So even though the durometer or the hardness of this is more, it's still going to be pretty easy to abrade this, and that clear rubber, or just the main rubber pattern on here, is also not going to be the most durable. The only saving grace of it is it's a 4 millimeter tread depth, so you are going to be able to use these a little bit longer just because there's more rubber on the shoe. Just get ready for those treads to start wearing down pretty visibly pretty quick. But honestly, much more important than the tread pattern or even the stability wrap in the outsole is the fact that it is continuous. You've got rubber going from heel to toe with no break points in the middle of the shoe. And remember, that is going to give you so much more surface area contact and so much more stability, because there is always an opportunity for tread to contact the ground, no matter what position your foot is in and no matter what direction your body is moving in. If you look at the suicide test, 14.80 seconds on corners, these things were gripping so well, and I was just getting so much stability as well as push-off force from the React foam. So all that combined makes these shoes wicked fast, number one on straightaways and on turns. That outsole combined with midsole is just a really darn good design. And heads up, if you are looking to compare the PG6 to other shoes that I've tested this year, in terms of its midsole height, you know, heel to toe drop, suicide test time, jump height time, construction, things like that, all the different tests I do on these, I do have a digital download in the description for download. It does get updated about bi-weekly. Every time I do about 2 or 3 shoes, I update it and send an email out. And that just is every shoe and all their stats all in one place. That way, if you're looking to buy a shoe or looking to compare shoes together, you kind of have it in one convenient document. So that's in the description below. And you know, getting into the fit and playability and player profile that fits the PG6, you know, these shoes are a pretty traditional Nike shoe. They do taper in the forefoot. They're not as narrow as I thought they would be. When I first put them on, they were pretty constricting. However, they do break in pretty quick. The only thing is the uppers are super plush and they are very, very comfortable and they are very padded. The only problem I found is I was really soaking through sweating in these shoes, even on indoor courts. I mean, it was only 40 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and honestly, they're still a little bit damp. So you are gonna have to give these shoes ample time to kind of dry if you are a heavy sweater. But if you move from the inside part of the uppers to the outside, if you look at the durability test of the Dremel 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, I mean, barely a scuff on that durability wrap here in the toe box. So for such a light shoe, these are definitely giving you a lot of padding and a lot of upper durability, especially to abrasion, sliding, and toe dragging. So you just gotta watch out if your foot runs hot and you're a heavy sweater. But by far my favorite part of the engineering of the PG6 is definitely the lace closure system and just design of it in general. If you look here, look how much material comes up over the top part or the vamp of your foot. That is gonna lock your foot in so well and protect against rotational injuries like midfoot sprains, Jones fractures, and even to a certain extent ankle sprains. But the other thing is, if you go on the opposite side of the shoe, it's also gonna cinch up the inside or the arch of your shoe too. So that combined with a really supportive shank, the continuous rubber tread pattern, the shoe is going to give you a lot of stability in the uppers, both on the inside and on the outside of the shoe. And in terms of playability and player profile, I know this sounds cliche. However, the PG6 kind of is the best of both worlds, from a more maximalist shoe and a more minimalist shoe. When I was playing in these, I couldn't help but keep thinking about the Curry Flow 9 and how these kind of had the best aspects of the Curry Flow line, except a little more traditional and tacky tread and a little more support in the uppers. Now I think the PG6 fits players best. They're looking for quick verticals, looking for really quick rebounding, really efficient rebounding, efficient movement in the paint, someone that really does their best work with layups or dunking. But also these shoes do pretty well around the perimeter. They are a pretty good shooting shoe because they get so much grip. You can really kind of outwork your opponent with footwork like some of the other shoes we've tested this year. And they're also really stable side to side. So I'd say really anybody that's looking to, number one, get up over someone's head on a lighter package and try to get a jump shot up over someone. Number two, someone that's trying to out rebound or just trying to play in the paint and trying to look for a little bit more of a creative shoe, a little bit more agile shoe. And frankly, someone that just wants more comfort, well, PG6 is gonna do you pretty well. I would just watch out if you're someone that is on the heavier side, because I think the heavier and taller you are, the faster you're gonna bottom these out, just because more torque, more cantilevering through these, just gonna start to bottom out the heel of the React foam. I think the arch of these probably stays pretty solid because of that shank. It's just, you probably are gonna start bottoming out the heel a little bit faster than some other more maximalist shoes. And you know, the PG6 has been one of the most anticipated shoes this year, and just looking at my comment section, there has been a ton of interest in them. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on these, if you think they're worth the upgrade, and if you think the upgrades they've made from the 5s are gonna suit your game. Let me know in the comments down below. And like I said, the PG6 does have a lot of similarities to the Curry Flow 9. So if you want to see my review and teardown of the Curry Flow 9, make sure you click in this video up above and subscribe down below. Respect your rubber and foam. I'll see you in the next video.